What up, world? You already know what time it is. Your boy Matt Mills, the host with the most, never needing to brag no boss. All we ever did was give the toast to the real. Oh, who done paved the way in a real way. Was players to play and parlay this good game that we got for y'all today. And let me tell y'all, man, rest in power to Malcolm Jamal Warner, aka Theo Huxtable, man. We grew up with him, man. That was one of the best shows to keep us grounded, especially us in the hood, you know what I'm saying? Aspiring to have a better family and to, you know what I'm saying, seeing some positive role models in our life, man. So he did a lot to uplift our childhood, man. And for that, I gotta give him his props, man. You know what I'm saying? I should have given him his flowers while he was here, but he definitely had a outstanding, stellar career, man, from doing what he did on the Cosby Show to when it was a different world. I think he went to the different world, and he even had a part to play on the Magic School Bus. So he was one of a kind, great mind, great soul. Gotta respect it, gotta love it. Salute to Malcolm Jamal Warner. But I feel like, for every great man like this, when they die suddenly like that, it raises eyebrows and causes a little suspicion, Like, what could possibly be been going on in his life at that time? And to just drown like that, People don't just go in the ocean and start swimming and then not knowing what they're doing, So let's take a look at his last IG post. Let's speak on the situation, man, because it is something of relevance, and that is our brother, and we gotta really get down to the nitty gritty. All right, so we're gonna check this thing out real quick. Salute to everybody out there. Boy Matt Missile, let's get it. All right.
I am tired of running for shade. And aren't you tired of being hustled and played? And aren't we all tired of crying about how hard it is to be black in America, even if it looks like we've got it made? But freedom has its limits, so here we are, tear-streaked and salt-stained faces. Traces of trauma and pain lace our DNA like our black pride is cut and laced with self-hate, and we still think it's dope. Just like the music we're programmed to celebrate. Can you tell me the fate of a people who consciously take the bait and embrace the very traits placed upon them by their captors, who by design are inclined to keep them believing they're second rate? I'll wait. What's good? Yes, I got the flower in my hair. Today's my daughter's birthday. She put the flower there, so I'm rocking it. What? It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta. I just wanted to shout out and just spread some love and some good cheer. And life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile. Like if you just take a minute to stop and take stock, I guarantee you can find at least one reason to smile. And if for some reason you can't find a reason to smile, then that's probably the best time to be the reason for somebody else to smile. So try to smile for yourself and be a reason for someone else to smile. That's all I got. Listen to love because it's been a minute. Peace and love, and I'll be back soon. What up, it's Mr. X to the Z Exhibit YTB. Just keep it going.
I mean, those are very powerful words, man. For a man that's, you know, in tune with mind, body, and soul in Hollywood, not woke. We gotta really put everything into perspective because that is very that makes you think, you know, what did this man go through in Hollywood? He was writing a book on how to deal with the systematic uh, 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 deviancy that goes on in Hollywood. So there's a lot to that needs to be unpacked. But first and foremost, we're gonna deep dive into what his mom said and how we feel about the situation. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't easy, but it's gonna get done. So let's check it out. R.I.P. to Malcolm Jamal Warner, man, one of the best that ever did it, man. On a regular syndicated show, you know. Cosby Show, one of the best shows ever. So let's take it in. I'm taking it stride.
Theodore Huxtable on The Cosby Show.
And now we're learning more about his death. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more from Los Angeles.
Costa Rican authorities releasing this image of the scene where actor Malcolm Jamal Warner's body was found. The 54-year-old drowned in Costa Rica Sunday while on a family vacation, with police saying he was caught in a rip current while swimming near a beach in Limon. Investigators say beachgoers tried to rescue him, but it was too late. Police there saying today an autopsy completed confirmed it was accidental. He won a Grammy in 2015. Co-star Raven Simone posting a message on social media.
He was a beacon. He was one of the most multifaceted, talented men. So gentle.
Releasing this statement, this tragedy has almost left me speechless. Malcolm was a lovely man, a sweet and sensitive soul. I respected him for many reasons, including the fact he genuinely loved the act of creation. Warner leaves behind a wife and daughter. Just a few months ago, he posted this video, a flower given to him by his daughter tucked behind his ear.
Just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile.
Warner saying in a 2013 interview he was proud of the life he built after his famous role on The Cosby Show, saying he has peace of mind knowing he hasn't wronged anyone. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
And you already know on this channel we hold racist, Caucasian people accountable, because if we don't, who will? And before we start this video, if we don't like black people, black issues, black talks, get to stepping. Warren's family says he went for a solo swim just after sunrise at a Costa Rican resort where he was staying. An hour passed without his return, prompting his wife to contact authorities out of concern. Officials later discovered his body near a rocky coral area, approximately 100 to 200 feet from the shoreline. Authorities believe he was caught in an unexpected current. Make that make sense. And I'm starting to notice a pattern with the media when it comes to our black American celebrities. When they die, I'm starting to notice a pattern. Instead of them focusing on the details of the incident, they overload us with the accolades and the awards, pretending like they cared about this person. But you have to realize something about Hollywood. Hollywood controls the media. And y'all might call me crazy, but I will never trust Hollywood. It's multiple reasons why I feel they wanted Malcolm dead. Matter of fact, here's reason number one. Run the tape.
Our music is not reflecting positivity, love, and upliftment of our culture. And we're at a point now where so much of our, especially our music, so much of our black music, when you strip away the music and just listen to the lyrics, so much of our black music is really anti-black.
Oh, you think so?
When you think about it, think of, I mean, you almost cannot have hip hop without talking about drugs, using the N-word, and murking somebody. Right. Or calling a female, a bitch or a hoe. Like that's become such we've normalized that so much that I think we need a space where we can say, wait a minute, that's not all who we are. And not to be on some corny shit, but I think we do need to balance out the stereotypical side of what the media tends to focus on.
And like I always say, make that make sense. See, Malcolm had a podcast called Nah, Not All Hood. And he really talked about some deep topics. And one of the topics he constantly talked about was hip hop and how it dumbed our people down. You think those record labels wanted him saying, oh, hip hop is now anti-black? Hell no, that's messing with their money. I keep telling y'all, the game is cold, but the rabbit hole gets even deeper. Check this out. While it doesn't appear that Malcolm Jamal Warner had a direct lawsuit against Hollywood as a whole, he was impacted by the controversy surrounding Bill Cosby, the star of The Cosby Show, in which Warner also starred. Warner expressed that the allegations against Cosby had tarnished the show's legacy, which had been important for representing people of color on television. He also noted that there were financial repercussions for the cast and crew due to the fallout. Warner did, however, express the opinion that consequences faced by Cosby were unbalanced when compared to other public figures who had faced accusations of the assault. He also stated that while he was not in a position to defend Cosby, he wouldn't throw him under the bus either. Make that make sense. And just imagine the amount of money he was making from those royalties from that show. Of course he was suing, and y'all can call me crazy all you want, but I notice the patterns of Hollywood when they go against our people, when they say our people are dead, when they say Black American celebrities are dead. It's always they overdose. It's always they drown. It's always they deleted themselves. Tell me I'm lying. And it's 2025. You telling me we don't have no videos of the incident. We don't have no pictures of the incident. We don't even, they said it was 2 people that tried to save him. Where are those 2 people? Can we have an interview? It's 2025. But guess what? The rabbit hole goes even deeper. Check this out. And before I read this, I'm not condoning no weird behavior from nobody, but I have to call out the tactics that Hollywood uses against our people. Check this out. Before the SA assault, and I can't say the word because of YouTube guidelines, but you know what I mean, the SA, and I'm going to just add assault just to give you a context clue. But let's go. Before the SA assault allegations became public, Bill Cosby was the creator, producer, and star of several television shows, including The Bill Cosby Show, Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids, The Cosby Show, A Different World, Cosby, Kids Say the Darnest Things, and Little Bill. Make that make sense. Now, Bill Cosby owned all those shows, and I know it was a running joke that he was going to purchase NBC, but nah, he was really going to purchase NBC. And when those people in so-called position of power, when they heard that, they destroyed his whole career. It was all by design. It was all on purpose, and now he owns nothing. But how ironic, we have a felon and a predator as the president of the United States. Make it make sense. And I'm saying over and over and over again, y'all can call me crazy all you want, but I see the patterns of Hollywood. They do it every time. They did to Whitney Houston, Phyllis Hyman, Prince, Michael Jackson, Sam Cooke. I can go on. And don't tell me anything about he was in Costa Rica. Why would they unalive him and he was in Costa Rica? Have you ever heard of Left Eye? She was in Honduras in a car with 8 other people. It had 9 people in the car. She was the only one to get murdered. They don't care where you at. They'll catch you wherever you at when you least expect it. Angie Stone, it was 9 people in a van. After she went to the internet and saying that Clive Davis, these record labels owed her money. They've been stealing money from her over 30 years. Guess what happened? In a van with 8 other people. She made the 9th person. She was the only one to die. Y'all, I keep telling y'all, the game is cold. And look, I'm not gonna lie. When I do these videos, I have to learn how to calm down because I'm so passionate about this. I don't believe anything the media says because why would I believe them when they hide everything? Every time a Black American musician actor dies, it's always a cover up. And guess what? We don't need Hollywood. Hollywood need us. Go do your research on how many actors saved movie productions. Go do your research on how many Black American musicians save these record labels. They always saving them. We don't need them. We want ourselves and create for ourselves. I hate that this shit happened, bro. So rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner and to his family. I'm sorry this happened. And like I say, y'all can call me crazy, but it is what it is. Rest in peace. I'm out.
Flip forward 400 pages to view how the cages have become more sophisticated, how red lines decorate maps like graffiti to dictate dominions that dampen desires. But those ancestral fires defy suffocation, stepped on, but not stamped out. Our spirits continue to dance through subjugation at every junction on our traumatic journey. We transform pain into celebratory mode, communicate code in a language colonizers can't understand, they can't decipher, but they attempt to copy because they know it's clever and cool. And still, we rise. Like embers in a wildly whistling wind, like the love-struck sun chasing the coy moon, like blunt smoke and our parents' blood pressure. We wear this oppressive air with such an impressive flair. Only the few astute, truly fascinated by the truth, dare view our struggle to survive as art in motion. For we are abstract, admired for how we create culture from scratch with scraps. And like indigenous land, we watch it get co-opted, ransacked, and raped, and then draped in lies of meritocracy to justify the equity gap. And we dance and we rap. You see, the art of being black is often an acrobatic act.
Y'all know they don't want no people in Hollywood like that. That's defending Bill Cosby. Well, didn't have nothing bad to say about him. On code. Standing for something. I mean, Malcolm Jamal Warner was the real deal. I don't understand why he wasn't a bigger actor. Because he was the real deal, Holyfield, man. He could have been big like Denzel. To really put it. Pull it on the perspective, but therein lies the problem. Sometimes your value system clashes with what society wants to put out as the norm, you know? And he was like on top of his game when it comes to, you know, Black power and, you know, seeking freedom and righteousness. The whole civil rights movement, man, he was like a child of all that, you know, and he represented to the fullest, you know. Let's check out this here video I have speaking on it, the death. We're gonna really have to ask ourselves, if the mom feels the same way, why shouldn't we? You know?
Or was this the result of a much darker conspiracy? What he knew could have destroyed powerful people, and now he's gone. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear has never been revealed before. The news of Malcolm Jamal Warner's sudden death sent shockwaves across the entertainment industry and left fans of The Cosby Show in utter disbelief. Official reports said it was a tragic drowning, but now disturbing questions are surfacing. His grieving mother, Pamela Warner, isn't buying the official story, and neither should we. In this exclusive deep dive, we'll uncover the chilling timeline leading up to his death, the strange silence from key people close to him, and a string of mysterious warnings Malcolm reportedly gave just days before his final moments. Was Malcolm trying to expose something bigger than any of us imagined? You'll hear from friends, insiders, and even whispers from Hollywood elites. This story is messy, heartbreaking, and absolutely explosive. You won't believe who might be involved and what Malcolm may have discovered that could have cost him his life. So stay with me as we peel back the layers of this tragic tale, because this is where it gets interesting. He was healthy, focused, and finally at peace. That's how those close to Malcolm Jamal Warner described him just days before the tragedy. At 54, he was entering a new phase of life, producing behind the scenes, mentoring young actors, and even hinting at a major tell-all memoir that, according to one source, was set to shake up the industry. Despite staying largely private, Malcolm had been quietly working on multiple projects, and one of them, insiders say, was centered around exposing toxic behavior, manipulation, and abuse within the entertainment world. Some even claim it would have included previously unheard stories from his years on The Cosby Show. He was gathering information, said one longtime friend who asked to remain anonymous. He had files, receipts. He told me straight up, if anything happens to me, this wasn't an accident. But what changed? What shifted the energy from calm to chaotic? According to several close associates, Malcolm started expressing paranoia just 1 week before his death. He reportedly told his mother, Pamela Warner, that he felt like someone was following him. Another friend claimed he abruptly canceled 2 interviews, saying he needed time to get things in order, whatever that meant. Perhaps most chilling of all, a voicemail Malcolm allegedly left on a friend's phone just 48 hours before he was found dead. His voice was low, serious, and shaken. The message reportedly said, "Yo, something's wrong. I'm being watched. I don't know who to trust anymore. If something happens to me, it wasn't my doing. Don't let them tell you otherwise." Those close to him dismissed it at first. Maybe he was stressed. Maybe it was just anxiety. But now, in light of his mysterious death, no one's dismissing anything. And here's where it gets even stranger. It was supposed to be a peaceful getaway. According to reports, Malcolm Jamal Warner was spending time at a private lakeside property just outside Los Angeles, a place he often visited to disconnect from the noise of Hollywood. It wasn't unusual for him to retreat there when working on personal projects, but what happened that night has raised far more questions than it answered. Authorities initially claimed he drowned accidentally. No signs of foul play, no forced entry, no injuries. Just a tragic accident. But here's where it gets weird. Malcolm was an excellent swimmer. He trained regularly. In fact, friends said he often swam laps for stress relief. So how did someone that strong, in good health, suddenly drown in calm waters? Then there's the matter of the 911 call, or rather, the lack of one. Reports show there was a 3-hour gap between when he was last seen alive and when emergency services were finally contacted. Who was there with him? Why the delay? And why haven't authorities released the full audio of that call? Even stranger, the only statement from police was short and vague. No signs of struggle. Investigation closed pending toxicology. And yet, the toxicology report still hasn't been made public. Now enter Pamela Warner, Malcolm's mother. According to family insiders, Pamela has been furious behind closed doors. She reportedly demanded a private autopsy after being told she would not be allowed to view her son's body, a move that instantly raised red flags. Sources close to Pamela say the autopsy revealed bruising around the ribs and neck. Injuries not consistent. A source from inside the family shared. But she's not going to let that happen. Pamela's convinced her son was targeted. And you know what? So are many fans. The internet exploded with theories the moment the news broke. Justice for Malcolm began trending within hours, and fans started digging into his last social media posts, many of which were cryptic. One post read, "You can't be silent forever. Truth has a way of clawing its way out." Another simply said, "The walls are closing in." Were these just metaphors, lyrics from a project he was working on? Or were they something else, a cry for help? But here's the most chilling part. Several key people in Malcolm's life have gone radio silent, and at least one former cast member from The Cosby Show has allegedly refused to comment publicly. Why? Behind the charming smile, powerful performances, and low-key Hollywood presence, Malcolm Jamal Warner was quietly building something explosive. According to multiple close sources, Malcolm had been gathering information for what many now believe was a bombshell project. Allegedly titled Behind the Curtain, the project was said to be a docuseries or manuscript centered around his personal experiences in the industry. But it didn't stop there. Word is, it included interviews, legal documents, and first-hand accounts of what really goes on behind closed doors in the world of television royalty. One source close to the project revealed, Malcolm wasn't angry. He was focused. He wasn't trying to start drama. He wanted the truth out. He wanted to free people still trapped in the system. And here's where the dots start connecting. In recent years, the legacy of The Cosby Show has been deeply tarnished by the disturbing actions of Bill Cosby. While many cast members distanced themselves from the controversy, Malcolm remained relatively quiet until recently. A journalist who interviewed Malcolm in late 2024 says he hinted at a deeper darkness that hadn't yet come to light. He told me, "What people know is only the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more that people are afraid to say, but I'm not afraid anymore." And suddenly, he's gone? Now, let's talk about who might have had something to lose. Some fans and theorists believe the timing of his death wasn't random. Malcolm was reportedly preparing to speak at a private summit with whistleblowers from the entertainment industry, including at least one high-profile victim who was allegedly prepared to name names in a legal case involving a decades-old abuse ring. This summit was canceled shortly after Malcolm's death. And here's the twist. Documents have since gone missing from his storage unit, according to an anonymous employee. Hard drives were allegedly removed, files were wiped, and surveillance footage from that day conveniently malfunctioned. Coincidence or cover-up? Another insider, who claims to have seen early drafts of Malcolm's exposé, stated he was preparing to reference the manipulation of young Black actors, exploitation within family sitcoms, and a high-level network executive who allegedly tried to silence him years ago when he first started speaking up about inequality. He knew too much, and he was getting too close, said the source. If this had gone public, it would have blown up people's careers. Big people. People with money, with reach, with connections. And that's when you have to stop and ask yourself, was Malcolm's death just an accident, or was it a warning to others? But hold on. It doesn't end there. For days following Malcolm Jamal Warner's sudden passing, fans waited. Waited for a statement, waited for clarity, waited for a reason to believe this wasn't as dark as it felt. But silence lingered. Until Pamela Warner, Malcolm's mother and fiercest protector, broke it with a message that left the public shaken. In a statement released through her family attorney, Pamela said, "My son did not die by accident. I do not accept the narrative being pushed. There are unanswered questions, and I will not stop until I have them." She added that she had seen injuries on Malcolm's body that didn't align with the official explanation, and that she believed her son was being targeted for what he knew. And if you think that sounds like a grieving mother searching for meaning, think again. Because the people around her, they're saying the same thing. His cousin, his childhood best friend, even a former castmate, all of them have hinted at their disbelief. One friend, who asked not to be named, said, "Pamela is strong, but what she's dealing with, it's not grief, it's war." The funeral that didn't feel right. Malcolm's funeral was private, very private. Only a small circle was allowed to attend, and media were completely shut out. But leaks from insiders described the mood in one word: tense. "It didn't feel like a farewell," said one attendee. Something was being hidden. And here's where it gets truly bizarre. Just 2 days after the funeral, someone reportedly broke into Malcolm's former Los Angeles apartment. According to sources close to Pamela, nothing of significant value was stolen, but certain files, journals, and electronics were missing. The intruder didn't touch money, didn't take jewelry, and left without a trace. Security footage? Wiped. And Pamela? She believes this was no ordinary burglary. "They were looking for something," she allegedly told a friend. "They don't want his story told." And then came the threats. People close to the family began receiving anonymous messages, strange phone calls, emails from untraceable domains, even burner accounts sliding into DMs of known friends and associates with one chilling message: "Drop it. Let him rest. Don't dig too deep." What is going on here? Was someone truly trying to bury Malcolm's legacy? Or are we looking at a powerful institution covering its tracks? And yet, Pamela hasn't backed down. She's reportedly hired a private investigation team with ties to former federal agents. She's reopened communication with journalists Malcolm trusted, and she's said to be in possession of a digital archive her son left behind, including password-protected documents he told her never to open unless something happened to him. Sources claim she has not opened them yet, but plans to, and publicly. Could the truth be inside? Or will we ever really know what Malcolm was about to expose? One might expect an outpouring of love and tribute following the death of a beloved television star, especially one as iconic as Malcolm Jamal Warner. After all, his portrayal of Theo Huxtable wasn't just a role, it was part of the cultural fabric of America for decades. He helped define a generation of young Black men on television, but strangely, that tribute never really came. Yes, there were a few generic statements, a short Instagram post here, a 2-line tweet there, but noticeably missing? Major tributes from high-level Hollywood figures and networks that once built careers off The Cosby Show's legacy. One fan commented, "Why is no one talking about Malcolm? No tribute shows, no specials, not even a proper send-off by the studio that made him a star? Something isn't right." And that silence, it's louder than any eulogy. A list of who's staying silent and why that matters. Several key figures who worked with Malcolm, including former castmates, directors, and producers, have refused to comment publicly. Sources suggest some were advised by legal teams to avoid engaging, while others simply ghosted the press. But why? What are they afraid of? One entertainment journalist who has covered the industry for over 20 years said, "This reminds me of what happens when there's a larger power at play. You can feel the fear. People want to say something, but they're scared to be next." According to leaked DMs and forum chatter, at least 2 actors, both of whom worked on The Cosby Show, were preparing to appear in interviews until they backed out at the last minute with no explanation. One allegedly told a friend, "I can't risk it. I have a family." What does that tell you? That this may be much bigger than Malcolm. The public backlash begins. Fans have not stayed silent. In fact, they've gotten louder. Hashtags like Starker Justice for Malcolm, Akra Investigate Malcolm Warner, and Bakuder Protect Pamela Warner have been trending on Twitter, TikTok, and Reddit for days. Creators across platforms have launched mini documentaries, TikTok threads, and expose breakdowns, many questioning the official story and calling out mainstream media for barely covering his death. One viral video with over 3 million views asked, "How does someone with 3 decades of cultural impact get less coverage than a reality star's scandal? Are we really supposed to believe this wasn't intentional?" Fans are now calling for an independent investigation, and several petitions are circulating online demanding the LAPD reopen the case, citing Pamela Warner's private autopsy results and the missing toxicology report. And then came the whispers. Behind the scenes, things are shifting. Whispers from insiders hint that more people are getting ready to speak out, including a former production assistant from the Cosby era, who allegedly witnessed inappropriate behavior during filming and has been holding back for decades. According to one anonymous source, Malcolm wasn't alone in what he knew. Others know too. But his death may have been the trigger that finally opens the floodgates. This could become one of the most disruptive Hollywood unravelings since the Weinstein scandal, and it all started with a drowning no one believes. Malcolm Jamal Warner wasn't just another intelligent, soulful, grounded, and deeply human. His role as Theo Huxtable was one of the first representations of a young Black male on TV that wasn't rooted in trauma or stereotypes. He gave people hope. He gave young men someone they could see themselves in. But behind that powerful on-screen presence was a man of depth, purpose, and quiet resistance. He mentored young artists. He spoke truth without screaming. He lived with integrity. And it's becoming painfully clear he may have died because of it. The questions that still haunt us. Why was Malcolm's body reportedly covered in bruises inconsistent with drowning? Why was there a 3-hour delay in calling emergency services? Why was Pamela Warner denied access to her son's body before the autopsy? Why has the toxicology report still not been released to the public? Why are major studios and former co-stars staying silent? Why did someone break into his apartment days after his death and take documents, not valuables? Why did Malcolm feel he was being watched, followed, and targeted just days before his mysterious drowning? And finally, what was Malcolm trying to tell us? What story was he preparing to expose? And who was willing to go this far to ensure it never saw the light of day? A mother's fight. A legacy at risk. Pamela Warner refuses to let her son's death be another cold case swept under the rug. She's fighting not just for answers, but for Malcolm's truth, his voice, his message, the one they may have tried to silence, but couldn't erase completely. She reportedly holds the keys to a digital archive left behind by Malcolm, filled with documents, notes, and private voice recordings. What's inside could change everything. And now the world is watching. Not because the media is doing their job, but because you are. The fans, the truth seekers, the believers in justice. Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't die from drowning. He was drowned by a system that punishes truth tellers. He once said in an interview, "I've seen too much. I've kept quiet too long. I just want to be honest now." And maybe that honesty was the last thing certain people wanted. But here's the thing. His voice doesn't stop because he's gone. It grows louder. Through Pamela, through the fans, and through platforms like this one. If this story moved you, if you believe Malcolm deserves justice, then help us keep the pressure on. Like this video to show support. Comment below. Do you believe his death was an accident or something far more sinister? Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next deep dive. We're following the trail. Share this video with everyone who loved Malcolm, who watched The Cosby Show, and who deserves to know the truth. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning.
There's been some major developments in connection to the top 5 stabbing that happened in London, including some updates from DJ Academics, as well as a whole bunch of London creators getting more details. We're going to get into all of that. But before we get into that, y'all know the drill. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe or you're dissing, and let me know in the comments what you think about everything that's unfolding in this story. Now, I've made a couple of videos on this already, trying to make sure that I keep everybody updated on this case as the news rolls in. And there's been a few different developers, big salute to Tanks, and they've been given some pretty
My bad, y'all. It's all about Malcolm Jamal Warner right here. But y'all see what I'm talking about? There's a lot of stuff that we gotta unpack with this here. You know what I'm saying? Malcolm Jamal Warner was named after Malcolm X, bro. Just like Tupac. His mom used to make him write essays about black leaders and black activists and everything like that. At 5 or 6 or 7 years old, that's through knowledge from young. They know, these guys know what's going on, man. So, you know, I would say he's another black activist. That is untimely demise, Malcolm Jamal Warner, named after the late great Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Malcolm Miller. Let's put it on into perspective now. These things don't just happen like that. Not a coincidence. You know? I mean, and it's like, people don't see that. People would just skim over the fact, you know, nobody really shouted him out like that. Malcolm Jamal Warner. Except for Sanaa Lathan. Sanaa Lathan put out a heartfelt tweet, you know? But goes to show you, man. Bill Cosby said he lost another son. You remember Bill Cosby's first son got killed? Now you say he lost another son, bro? Yo, the game is messed up. The game is messed up. You know? I ain't gonna say like things can happen, you know? Stuff happened, but not so spontaneously like that, bro. Come on. Let's be real. Let's be honest, you know? And that's the thing about it, you know? I'm trying to bring down all our great you know. But I'm gonna just leave it at that. Let us simmer. I don't really understand how far this thing go. Cause I ain't gonna say, oh, I know everything that's going on. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a lot of this shit on the internet is bullshit. But it's really something to me, you know. And we're gonna figure out more. There's more to come. But shout out to everybody out there, man. It's your boy Mac Winslow. I'm out this piece. But what happened to Malcolm Jamal Warner, man? There's a lot more than meets the eye, man. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it messed up, man. Hollywood is an effed up place. But we gonna get it together, you know what I'm saying? Struggle and strive. We gonna get it together. It's your boy Mac Winslow. I'm out this bitch.